solutions that help people navigate these very difficult times. So what we see is the edge moving. The edge has now moved into the home. So enterprise IT services are now present in the home. And that enables a different way of working. There's a few examples here that I've put up there. Looking at education, my eldest son's at college and he was sent home just after the new year, and they said, we're moving to an online curriculum. So he asked the obvious question, well, how do I access this? And they didn't have a solution at that time. So people are scrambling to implement these solutions to support their businesses so they can carry on and still meet their commitments in terms of, education. In terms of healthcare, there's a story many years ago when I was working for Cisco. This was the early days of ISDN. So a patient was brought in, they had a brain scan. They didn't see anything on the scan, but they thought, well, we'll send it to a consultant who would happen to be at home. And he had this new ISDN router. Now, it took a couple of hours to get the image to him. But once he got the image, he looked at it and immediately saw that this guy was in big trouble. So they sent an ambulance to his home, put him into the hospital, and saved his life, basically. Now, the ability to have that on-demand capability for knowledge workers, radiologists, healthcare experts that can now look at images remotely in a safe and secure fashion while meeting their HIPAA requirements is absolutely critical. SD-WAN can help us here. And then the last example here was insurance agents. Insurance offices are everywhere. If you look around as you're traveling, you'll see all sorts of logos up there. They've got 2 or 3 people in an office. Many times those kinds of workers can work at home quite happily. And again, the ability to turn up a call center from a home location is sometimes a critical requirement, not just for the times that we're in currently with COVID. Also bear in mind, people go on leave for many various reasons. One of the most prevalent one is, women as they enter and exit the workforce when they've got maternity leave or just after, the birth of their children. How do you bring their critical skills back into the workforce based upon their needs and circumstances? By having an SD-WAN presence in their home, they can log in, log out, and provide their knowledge and expertise to meet or help the business meet its obligations. So what we can see here is a broad set of customers, or broad set of organizations rather, that benefit from an SD-WAN presence in their home. It allows them to log into critical services across the WAN seamlessly, but also allows us to route traffic to the most relevant point. So for example, for a Zoom session, why backhaul that all the way across into the data center through the firewall, placing more and more demands on my firewall infrastructure just to push it back out the internet to go to a particular location. In this instance, we can break that traffic out at the home office and route it directly to, in this instance, Zoom. So there's a lot of ways that we can help not just scale the infrastructure required, but also to bring those knowledge workers into play, as well as provide the most efficient footprint that we can in terms of delivering those services. In terms of how SD-WAN does that, obviously there's an awful lot of features and functions that are brought to bear to provide the outstanding service that we want to provide at all points in the network. So in terms of how you would bring SD-WAN into the home, well, there's many different ways of connecting in. The most popular one today is obviously some sort of broadband service. I've got fiber to the home, but before that I had cable. We can support any number of different technologies there from a connection basis, including LTE. So if people have got unreliable bandwidth, or they're in areas where it's difficult to get internet services, you know, some places in California are way out in the boonies. How do you get reliable bandwidth there? LTE is an option that enables you to provide stable and efficient services that we can prioritize traffic across to meet their application response time commitments or requirements. In terms of how we prioritize that bandwidth, the SD-WAN solution powered by VeloCloud is application aware. So you can go into an intuitive interface and start to prioritize different applications and route them accordingly based upon what you need to achieve from an application response time there. So very, very intuitive, very, very powerful interface for achieving that. In terms of how we manage it, one of the key benefits here of SD-WAN is, one, not only is it hardware agnostic, you can run it on multiple different platforms, but one of the key things that really stood out for me is how well thought out the provisioning of these solutions are. You could literally ship a box. It's a very simple installation. There is a video up on the web. It takes about 2 minutes to register the device from any location, to be quite honest. And once it's registered, all of the policies regarding application handling as well as routing are all pushed down to the device very, very easily, very, very simply, which allows organizations to roll these devices out very, very quickly with minimal IT intervention from the core IT team now, that have probably got their hands full trying to manage all the rest of the infrastructure that they're trying to handle with all the restrictions that are placed on them. So very, very powerful solution in terms of how we implement and roll this out. And then lastly, monitoring, reporting. If you can't measure it, you can't report on it, and you're effectively blind. So the SD-WAN solution here from Dell, powered by VeloCloud, has very rich reporting that allows you to pull any number of different metrics to make sure that you're meeting your service level agreements. In terms of how that instantiates itself or how it is experienced, one of the key features of the VeloCloud SD-WAN software is dynamic multipath optimization for application traffic. And what you can see here is 2 videos, one without SD-WAN with a modest amount of packet loss on a link, and another with the Dell SD-WAN solution powered by VeloCloud. What you can see here is a dramatically different experience in terms of the clarity of the video. And given we're doing so much interaction now across various video platforms, we're all using Zoom today. I feel like I'm on Zoom 6 hours a day at least, and then on other voice media, probably another 2 at least, mainly without my cell phone, although I've got various apps on there. Most of that is transacted over the internet. As you can see here with the SD-WAN solution, you can optimize your traffic, optimize that experience to make sure that we don't lose that human interaction. We don't lose that human touch. Oftentimes, as you can imagine, how many times have you read an email and thought, what's that about? When you actually get to talk to someone, you can see the nuances and you can see the body language, and it becomes a lot more lot more human in terms of the interaction there. So this is just a simple example of how SD-WAN with DMPO can help with that human contact, which we're all lacking a little bit. To finish up this session, I probably rattled through a whole lot of stuff. I know I missed a lot of technical detail. There's a whole team that sits behind me in terms of being able to support the channels, and we do thank you for your time and attention, especially during these trying times. But this last slide just goes to talk to the broader portfolio that Dell can bring to bear to solve multiple challenges for a connected worker. So in terms of working at home, you want to offer a professional environment. So we've got a variety of laptops and desktops and printers and tablets to help with that part of the portfolio there. In terms of SD-WAN, we've got a very rich portfolio of offerings that we offer in conjunction with VMware VeloCloud software. From a pure desktop perspective, VDI is a very, very popular solution, and we've got a lot of different solutions that we can bring to bear to help in circumstances where users need access to their desktops, but we also need to control the data and provide a very high uptime, very tightly controlled environment. So our ready solutions for VDI can help tremendously in that respect, in conjunction with the SD-WAN solution. And then lastly, but not least of which is, as we work at home, how much do we trust those endpoints that are connected to the network? SD-WAN includes very rich segmentation services, so you can actually separate the home environment from the virtual office environment. As you can see here, I'm sitting in one of my spare rooms at the moment that's got quite a lot of interesting stuff sitting in the background. However, when my device is attached, what I want to make sure is those devices that are attached to the enterprise network are trusted, secure, and secured from a data exfiltration perspective. So there's a lot of different solutions that we can bring to bear to help organizations as they scale to help bring their knowledge workers back into the workforce and back to productive, back to being as productive as they possibly can. So that's it from me. There's a couple of links there in terms of learning a little bit more. There's the SD-WAN solution on the Dell Technologies webpage there. There's also a VMware.com solutions page with SD-WAN software. And if you want to, please follow us on Twitter. Dell Networking is a great resource. Please feel free to follow us and send us a message or two during these times. Other than that, thank you very much for your time and attention. I'm around for some Q&A. Ernie's raring to go. Look, he's got his SD-WAN box already. You're supposed to deploy that, Ernie. Over to you guys in terms of questions. So, Kristen, if you can be moderator for us, it'd be much appreciated.
Happy to do so, and in conjunction with Buck, because I think he gets the questions. But also, thank you again so much, Steve. But I also just wanted to throw out to the audience, if anyone would like to learn more, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to schedule something more in depth based on the specific needs of you or your customers.
So I don't have any questions on the chat right now. Steve, I thought you did a great job, by the way. While people are coming in and pointing out some questions, whether you guys want to do it over chat or just take yourselves off mute and go ahead and talk. I did want to point out three, in listening to Steve's presentation, there's some things that I took away that I think are very relevant right now. One, I really like, Steve, how you started off with kind of identifying some verticals. You know, we're all trying to figure out which right customers to reach out to right now, which are the ones that are really struggling with some of these work from home capabilities, and where can we help? And so pointing out insurance industry, healthcare industry, and education verticals, I think really gives us some direction. So thank you for doing that. And then I really like the slide that you had about the 8 different reasons that how SD-WAN transforms networking. What I liked on it, like probably the one that really jumped out to me is the application awareness. I think it's so critical to be able to prioritize critical applications when there's other things going on, right? Like you want to make sure that you mentioned healthcare. The healthcare applications, if I'm working from home, get prioritized over YouTube, for example. So that's awesome. And then the slide that you had on the video conference example of with and without SD-WAN and the 2% packet loss, that was really cool, kind of showing the difference, right? Like I think we've all been on Zoom calls where someone that you're video conferencing with is getting all choppy. And this is a great example of ways that IT organizations can help improve that experience for their remote workers. So actually, I do see now one question on the chat. Oh, and just the question was that Steve did an awesome job, and there's not sure if there may be any questions. I'll pause for a second though, just in case we do.
Got no questions at all. You need to hand out better prizes, Buck.
The backpack sounds pretty cool.
Got no questions at all?
I mean, I think you just did a great job, Steve. Thank you so much.
Oh, there must be some questions there. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being so generous and kind with me. I'll leave it there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Stephen and Kristen. Major shout out to you. Great job putting this together. I thought the content was extremely relevant to the times and to the portfolio of solutions that our partners can work with Dell Technologies on. And Ernie, thanks for joining yourself. I thought it was great to give the partners in the community a chance to get to see you over Zoom and know who they'd be working with on this type of stuff out on the field with when approaching accounts. And unless there's anything else, I guess Kristen or Ernie,
just let me add just one quick thing. So I have, I've been doing networking for 30 years. I know it pretty cold. I have an engineer who's on here somewhere on this call, but he didn't turn his video on. Harry Inks, who's been doing it for a long time. And, we're here to help. So if you want to go talk to a customer about this, I guess virtually, and just, we can do it over Zoom or whatever, let us help you, right? You don't need to go do this by yourself. I mean, that's what we're for, right? So let us help you. We're happy to go do a lot of these kind of pitches. I've actually even done a little video on SD-WAN to kind of show you how to deliver the message. So we got a lot of really cool tools to help you do it, but, let us help you because, we're all kind of in the same boat, kind of looking for, opportunities to help our customers and move the needle forward. And again, we're happy to jump in and help you guys.
Hey, Ernie.
That's such a great point. That's a great point, Ernie. Thank you. I just wanted to say as well, to second what Ernie said there, really, we're an extension of your team. Please do take us up on it. Bring us in. We're here to help in any way.
Hey, so for that video you just referenced, Ernie, where could we access that at?
So I can send the link to, I think Kristen, you may have the link to it, but I can send Kristen a link and then she can send it out. I stuck it up on YouTube.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Great question, Adrian. All right. So thank you again, everyone, for joining. Keep an eye out for the bonus questions coming later today. And as a reminder, next week's episode is going to be on helping customers take control of their cloud strategy with a data-first approach. And with that, it's a wrap. So thank you, everyone. 3 minutes short. As I said, we're efficient. Appreciate you guys joining.
Thanks very much,
Bob.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Speak to you all soon.